let's go next slide. Next slide is entitled The Great Divide. And it reads, Christians divide time into two epochs. Keep in mind, folks, that the vast majority of people in the United States are baptized Christians, and the vast majority of people in the United States are raised as Christians, as children and teenagers and young adults. However, as adults, many Christians jump ship. They give up their faith. They become atheists or whatever. But I suspect that in the United States, probably 75% of 90% to 90% of Americans are raised as Christians, and Christianity is by far the dominant religion in the United States. Okay, and so it says Christians divide time. And by the way, for many companies, the Christmas season. Well, the Christmas season is the most important shopping season in the United States, and for some companies, as much as 90% of their sales take place during the Christmas season. So it's a very big deal. Christianity in the United States is a very big deal, as it is in Europe and as it is in throughout the Americas, from Canada to Central America to South America. It's in the Western world, Christianity is a dominant religion. It's a very big deal. In fact, it's even a bigger deal than Mother's Day. Okay, because the second biggest holiday is Mother's Day, and then Valentine's Day. So, despite how important mothers are, okay, women and mothers are very important. Okay, if it wasn't for your mother, you wouldn't be here. Mother is very important. But even though mothers are critical and very, very important, Christmas is a bigger shopping season than Mother's Day. It's the biggest one in the United States. Okay, so it says Christians divide time into two large epochs: before Christ and after the death of Christ. Okay, so like that, right? It's kind of like the media, right? So before Christ, after Christ. That's it. If you're a Christian, that's it. Time is like that. Immortal time. However long time is, if it exists. Some people say time doesn't exist. Some of these physicists say that time does not really exist. But what do I know? Time, Christians divided into before Christ and after Christ, two parts. Okay, and the next section reads, life is similar to this in that the first part of your life is the accumulation phase of your life. In other words, the first part of your life, you're accumulating things: education, jobs, money, career, cars, house, spouse, children, experiences like that, vacations, like you're in the accumulation phase of your life. Okay, the second part of your life will be the retirement, expenditure, or disbursement phase of your life. Okay, so at some point, well, let me add that here. So at some point or age, most people retire. Okay, for most Americans, this is age 62. Let me say this. Age 60. That's the most common retirement age for Americans. Not because that's the best age to retire, because it's not. At age 62, you only get partial retirement. You have to wait. Right now, you have to wait till 66 and a half to get full retirement. So it's not the best age to retire, but most Americans retire at 62 because they need the money. They need the Social Security checks, okay? Because a lot of Americans have not done particularly well. Despite the fact that this is a rich country and that California is a rich region, a lot of Americans have not done well, so they retire at 62 to get the Social Security payments, okay? And again, the second part of your life will be the retirement, expenditure, or disbursement phase of your life. So in other words, in the first part of your life, you're accumulating things, including money and assets, okay? Stock market investments, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, ETF funds, gold, silver, whatever, commodities, right? You're accumulating. Well, at some point, people have to retire, okay? it's inevitable. I mean, unless you like die for some reason, which does happen to people. But a lot of people, they have to retire. Some people retire because they want to retire, okay? Like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant retired at age 36, as you know, okay? And he retired a multi-million. So some people are very good performers or fortunate. But sooner or later, people have to retire for the most part. My father owned a restaurant, and he developed leukemia around age 70. And he tried to keep going with his restaurant business. And it was a kind of expensive steakhouse, kind of like Black Angus type restaurant, but privately held. And he would put on his bow tie and his tuxedo, and he would try to go to work because he was the owner. And then he'd go to the front door and he'd go back to his reclining sofa. He would sit in his reclining sofa and he would fall asleep like that. Right? He would get dressed up to go to work, and then he'd get to the door and he realized he couldn't get out the door because he had leukemia. And he'd go back to his reclining sofa, he'd sit there and he would fall asleep. So this happens to many people, okay? Usually people can function well till about age 70. around age 70, people start having serious problems. Okay, so, and they have to retire. My mother retired at age 70. She was in good health, but that was it. She's like, that's enough for me. Basically she had maxed out her pension, right? She kept working from 62 to 70 to max out her pension. After 70, they were not going to give her any more money. Her pension was not going to give her any more money on a monthly basis. So she said, that's it. Okay, I maxed out my pension, monthly pension disbursements. That's it. Okay. So at that point, when you stop working, then you don't have any new money coming in. Right? You're not working for physical reasons like my father, or because you don't want to, like Kobe Bryant. You don't need to, like Kobe Bryant. You don't want to, like my mother, because there's no point in it, or whatever. Maybe mental reasons, like some people develop Alzheimer's or dementia or Parkinson's or whatever. And then you stop working because you can't, right? You can't find a job. And from that point forward, you enter the expenditure or disbursement phase of your life. Okay. And at that point, hopefully you have Social Security to help you pay for your expenses, rent, food, utilities, so forth. If not, and even if you have Social Security, you may have to turn to your net worth to cover your cost of living, okay? Including taking these wonderful vacations to Europe or Mexico or Cancun or the Bahamas or whatever, if you did well, if your performance was good, right? If it was not so good, then you have to stick to TV dinners, or in some cases, Alpo dog food. That's terrible. We don't want to talk about it. Okay, so that's the way it is. That's basically how life works. And then the next point asks, what is your vision in this regard? At what age do you plan to retire? Is that age realistic for you, and why so? So what's your vision? I never planned to retire early. I thought, no, I don't plan to. In fact, I don't really plan to retire at all. Okay, to be honest with you, because I enjoy teaching and I enjoy being a college teacher. But what's your vision? Some of my students have told me that they plan to retire like at age 30 or 32 or 35, something like that, in their early 30s. To be honest with you, that's not realistic. That's not realistic because unless you're Kobe Bryant, okay, you're going to have a lot of expenses to cover from retirement forward, right? Rent, utilities, food, transportation, medical care, vision care, dental care, all kinds of expenses, without including like nice vacations, nice restaurants, nice trips like that. Not including that. You have a lot of expenses. So if you retire age 30 and you're not a multi-millionaire, how are you going to cover all these expenses from, let's say, age 30 to age 80? Now, 50 years. It's not possible. It's not doable for most people. Okay, some people, yes, Michael Jordan, right? Those people, but not most people. Okay, But anyway, tell me, what's your vision? What age do you plan to retire? And is it realistic, and why? Okay, this is important. What I'm trying to get you here is to plan ahead so that you can become wealthy and so that you can retire in comfort and luxury and tranquility. Okay, let's go next slide.